What you see here is the homepage of the Geo User Requirement Registry, the URR. Geo, the Group on Earth Observations, is building GEOS, the Global Earth Observing System of Systems, to support global sustainability. To make sure that GEOS provides the information that our global society needs to make informed decisions, we have built the URR as a crowdsourcing tool, which allows you to publish your information on who you are in terms of a user, what you are doing, and what you need in terms of Earth observations and products to do what you are doing. By publishing your information in the User Requirement Registry, you can inform Geo about your needs, and thus enable Geo to respond to your needs. We invite you to watch the video to get an overview of what the URR can do, what it is offering, and what it can be used for. The URR also provides extensive tutorials that can help you to get started.
Earth is a dynamic planet, and it's changing. The governments, policymakers, the decision makers at all levels, and the general public are in need of information on the variability of the environment, the hazards the environment may pose to us, and the way the planet is changing, partly in response to our activities. The Group on Earth Observations is developing the Global Earth Observing System of Systems so that decisions made by governments and other decision makers at all levels can be informed by coordinated Earth observations. Information derived from Earth observations has benefits in a wide range of societal areas, and GEO addresses all of these areas. How does GEO know what information the decision makers need and what Earth observations are needed to get this information? The User Requirement Registry, or URR as we call it here, is an important crowdsourcing tool that has the goal to inform GEO about what the users in the different societal benefit areas need. The URR supports GEO in building a user-driven GEOS. Here we want to demonstrate the URR as a communication tool for users to inform GEO about their needs. The value of the URR depends on users coming to the URR to publish their needs. The more, the better. We will show that it's easy to contribute your information and help to ensure that GEO is building a user-driven GEOS. In February 2005 in Brussels, the Ministerial Summit on Earth Observations endorsed the 10-year implementation plan for GEOS, and this plan governs the development of GEOS. This plan refers to users in many places, underlining the importance of a common understanding of user needs and improved delivery of information to the users. According to this plan, GEOS is to be built as a user-driven system serving the needs of users in 9 societal benefit areas of Earth observations. The plan comes with a reference document which details many aspects of GEOS. The importance of knowing the users and their needs is emphasized in many places. A quote from page 163 summarizes the focus on the user requirements.
For this approach, a distinct and common user requirements database should be established and maintained for GEOS, building on and linking to existing user requirement databases such as CEOS WMO, Database of User Requirements and Observation System Capabilities. The database should provide a link between the observation capabilities, data products requirements, and societal benefit areas. Furthermore, the database should provide a gap analysis mechanism on the basis of comparison of available observations and data products with the required ones.
This quote describes comprehensively what has been guiding us in the development of the URR. In summary, we can state that the building of GEOS, consistent with the mandate given by the ministers at the summit in Brussels in 2005, is not possible without the URR. Today, many parts of the URR are fully implemented, while some parts are still under development. Although the URR is far from being populated for all SPAs, it has already useful data that illustrate the value of the URR. What you are seeing here is the homepage of the URR, which gives access to the main menu of the URR. These menus allow you to view the contents, to publish your information, to analyze the contents, to set your preferences, and to log in as a user to have access to some of the functions that are not available to anonymous users. In addition, the page briefly introduces several aspects of the URR and gives access to a number of read-mores which provide more detailed information for each of these aspects of the URR. First, we will pull up the information on the GCI. The core of GEOS is the GEOS Common Infrastructure. This core consists of the GEOS web portal as the primary entry point for users, the discovery and access broker supporting users in finding and accessing data, the registries for components and services, standards and interoperability agreements, and user requirements, a best practices wiki, and several other components supporting the portal, the discovery and access broker, and the registries. The URR is integrated into the GCI and interacts with other components of the GCI. The user-related information in the URR is collected in a standard way across all SPAs and structured in a way that captures the value change from Earth observations down to the end users. In order to guide the development of a user-driven GEOS, the collected information needs to be able to answer three key questions. What applications and activities and the related observational requirements have priorities for the users? Which of these priorities are currently not met by observations, derived products, or services? How relevant are existing or proposed datasets and products to the users? The data model of the URR enables the analyses that answer these questions. To learn more about the data model, we go back to the home page and then use the Read More here, which brings up a page that provides details on the URR data model. The diagram shows the relation in the URR database. We started the URR originally with only three key relations. One for the applications, which captures what we do, sometimes with and sometimes without Earth observations. One for user types, which captures who is doing it and benefiting from it. And one for requirements, which specify what is needed for the applications in terms of Earth observations. But when we started to implement this model, early users of the URR requested to add four relations that describe related needs. Research needs describe what we need to understand better. Technology needs detail what we need to develop in terms of sensors, data processing models, and so on. Infrastructure needs describe what we need to build in terms of new observing systems or services. And finally, capacity building needs collect information on which capacity needs to be built and in which form. In addition to these seven key correlations, we have a semantic component denoted as lexicon, which collects all the terms used in the URR. It also defines the controlled vocabularies that are necessary to facilitate a common understanding of the user-related information across the SPAs. References to documents with more information on individual entries in the URR can also be collected and used to give access to these documents. What is unique and novel about the URR is the links relation, which we use to capture the interconnectivity. Each entry in the link relations describes the connections between two entries either in the same or two different of the core relations. The links entries describe the value of the connection and to what extent the connection is actually established. For example, a link entry could connect a requirement for precipitation to the application malaria early warning and detail to what extent this connection is implemented or not implemented due to a lack of data sharing or a lack of observations. It is the information about the interconnectivity between the individual entries in the core relation that enables the analysis of the URR. And again, we go back to the home page, scroll down, and get to the Read More for the analyses. As mentioned earlier, the information in the URR enables three generic types of analyses. The first analysis investigates the user priorities by asking the question, how relevant is this entry in the URR? For example, we can ask, how relevant is the application numerical weather forecasting? And we answer this question in principle by how many user types, applications, and needs depend on this application. The relevance of an entry in the URR can be determined within the URR with no need to connect to other GCI components. The second analysis is the gap analysis. In a gap analysis, we want to answer the basic questions: is this requirement met by data sets or products? This question cannot be answered within the URR alone. We need to send a query from the URR to the discovery and access broker to get information on all data sets that meet the requirement. The third analysis, the relevance analysis, is the converse of the first analysis. Here we are interested in knowing how relevant a given dataset or a given service is in terms of the user-related information captured in the URR. This question can be addressed by asking how many entries in the URR depend on the dataset or service, and how relevant are these entries. Answering this question requires a query from the Geo web portal to the URR, rather than the URR initiating a query to the discovery and access broker. The result of these analyses provide guidance to the development of the GEOs. Scrolling further down on the home page, we find that there is actually more that we can do with the URR. We can use the URR in support of the implementation of the Geo work plan. The implementation of the Geo work plan is monitored against a small number of geostrategic targets, which each are detailed through a number of specific goals. Ideally, the work plan tasks would address all these goals. The targets can be considered as applications, while the goals represent applications or one of the four needs. Basically, what we have done for the Geo work plan implementation is to create URR entries for the strategic targets and the goals, and link these to relevant Geo work plan tasks and task components. For example, the strategic target 4, Science and Technology, there are 7 goals, which represent applications, research needs, infrastructure needs, and capacity building needs. For the Geo work plan task IDO 3, Science and Technology in GEOS, the task component C1, engaging the science and technology communities in GEOS implementation, aim to achieve 2 of these goals. By understanding all of this interconnectivity between work plan tasks and strategic targets, we can help to monitor to what extent the geostrategic targets actually are being achieved through the work plan, and to identify which goals are not addressed by the work plan.
Reporting on the experience with the URR over the last few years, we can say that the GEO community has supported the development of the URR and the populating of the URR. For example, experts extracted entries from the GEO assessment reports, which were prepared for each of the SBAs by the GEO work plan task USO 901. Several GEO communities of practice, including the GEO hazard community of practice and the coastal zone community of practice, have published their user-related information. The water community of practice even developed the challenge of 10 to motivate each member to contribute at least 10 entries, and provided a certificate to those who did. The URR turns out to be a very valuable tool for broad user engagement, and users have even requested to add a social network to it, which would allow individual people to associate with one or more of the generic user types that are published in the URR. We hope the video has captured your interest and welcome you as a new user of the User Requirement Registry.